Hello everybody and welcome to a super quick update on VGC Bootcamp. I wanted to update you guys on what's going on in my quest to become a VGC master and some of the thoughts that I have kind of going through the motions of playing VGC. I also didn't want to leave you guys without a video, so I figured, you know what, let's sit down, let's talk for a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of a recap of where I am and what I've been doing. And then I'll let you know what's coming up next, because the next week is going to be pretty intense in terms of my practicing and in terms of what's going to happen. So let's get into it. So to preface this video is not going to have a battle associated with it. This one is just going to be me talking. So you know what, if you need to put this in the background and you just want to listen to a guy talk that you've been watching for a little bit, go ahead and do that, because this is where we're at right now. So like I said, this week is going to be incredibly important for my VGC preparation, because this Saturday, if all goes well and we don't get any kind of virus related cancellations for our regionals, Kevin, hopefully if he can make it over, and I are going to our first regional competition of the year in Ontario, in Mississauga. It's so awesome to be able to compete in one of these things, because I've always found that competing in person and being in the same place as all these other people who are competing is the best way to up your game. You get to feel what other people are feeling. You just kind of like get that air of competition kind of radiating off of people. You know what I mean? And for that, I have played more than I've ever played before. And I think I've learned quite a few things from what I've been doing. I want to explain some of those to you. So right now, since Series 3 has dropped, there's been a huge surge in people who are using very certain Pokemon, very specific Pokemon. There have been a lot more people using Incineroars. There have been a lot more people using Togekiss. There have been a lot more people using Gigantamax Lapras. And I am there for 2 of the 3. I have been using Gigantamax Lapras as well as Togekiss, and that is an interesting one to me, because I'm finally using a Togekiss on my team. I've always had one on my team because I felt like it needed to be there, but I changed it up. Before it was the support Togekiss. This time I changed it to the full-on attacking Togekiss with the scope lens and with Super Lock. Ever since doing that and adding, I think is Heat Wave, Dazzling Gleam, whatever max airstream is, Air Slash, and Follow Me, that Togekiss has been worth bringing in so many times, specifically against Conkeldurrs, because my team right now is well, let's say it has a bit of a fighting weakness. The typical team that I will bring into a game consists of Drifblim, Indeedee, male Indeedee, Gigantamax Lapras, and then a fourth kind of flex pick. Usually if I see a Conkeldurr on the other team, I'm assuming that they're going to be bringing it against my team preview, because it has Galarian Darmanitan in it as well. So obviously the thought is that, you know, we need something that can have that fighting attribute. So seeing that, I usually bring in a Togekiss. If I don't see that and I see just things that Galarian Darmanitan can take down, then I always bring in Galarian Darmanitan, and that has so far worked wonders for me. I love Gigantamax Lapras, all right? Just looking at that guy, I'm like, wow, that is a Pokemon that I want to use. Gmax Resonance is amazing, being able to set up an Aurora Veil on one turn without having to put up hail. That's nuts. A lot of people will send out a Grimmsnarl to set up a Reflect or a Light Screen, and just do both. Why not both, you know? The issue with it, and Lapras, by the way, does have the weakness policy like most do. The issue with that Lapras holding a weakness policy, and the issue with Lapras being a main attacker, is that now that we're about a week into Series 3, people are kind of expecting that. That's the common set to run on Lapras. So what do people do? They use Snarl, So what do people do? They use Snarl. They lower the special attack using Parting Shot from Incineroar. They get the Incineroar out at the same time. And the sad thing is that Lapras doesn't have a heck of a lot of special attack. So even though you're building it to be especially offensive, it still is susceptible to all of those Pokemon lowering its stats. And then you just have a Lapras that doesn't do anything. Sure, you get to set up the Aurora Veil, but if you're not kind of being cheeky and using like Brick Break on your own Pokemon and then setting up the Aurora Veil again, it's not that great after you use the first time. But it does have a lot of synergy with other Pokemon, and that's actually why I'm bringing the Indeedee and the Drifblim. And let me tell you about how that synergy works. There's a combo right now between Indeedee and Drifblim that I am really enjoying. You send out the Indeedee. Indeedee has the Psychic Surge, so it sets up that Psychic Surge. You can't get targeted with priority moves, so Fake Out, that's gone. And then Drifblim has Unburden. So you put a Psychic Seed on Drifblim, it uses that Psychic Seed, then it's not holding a thing, so it gets its speed doubled through Unburden. It then becomes the fastest Tailwind user in the game. So what does that mean? It means that I can use a Tailwind incredibly early, even after a Whimsicott on the other side uses their Tailwind, because my Drifblim is already doubly fast and is already just a fast Pokemon in general, so it typically goes before whatever the partner of the Whimsicott is. I set up the Tailwind, or if I don't need to set up a Tailwind, I can set up something like a Rain Dance. I can hit them with an early Strength Sap, or I can just attack them with a Shadow Ball. So that would like break a Sash or just do some extra early damage that I might need. The Indeedee is strong, and from what I've seen, a lot of people kind of expect the Indeedee to be a massive attacker, so they do go into it. If I do get a Tailwind up and the opponent doesn't get a Tailwind up, then typically Indeedee will be able to do some early damage, which is great because if the opponent does hit the Indeedee, my Indeedee has not an escape policy, a eject button. And from there, I can switch out Indeedee on the first turn, go into Lapras, who I would then Gigantamax. If my Drifblim has Tailwinded, then I can set it up with a Rain Dance next turn, and then my Lapras, who has Thunder, Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, and Protect, can either hit them with a Protect if needed, or I can Gigantamax and hit them with a Gmax Resonance, or I can Gigantamax and hit them with a Hydro Pump in the rain. So you can see there's some clear synergies there, and I've been doing extremely well with this team. I don't know the exact stats on it, but I feel like I'm about 70-80% online and through other ways. But it's been going really well for me. And then, as I said, the fourth Pokemon outside of that combo is usually either Togekiss or Galarian Darmanitan. I'm also bringing a Duraludon because Duraludon's just another strong Pokemon. I thought that was basically how I'm going to do it. I have my three core Pokemon, like my core team that synergizes with itself, but then I also have that one cleanup guy who can really do some damage. I'm really enjoying, by the way, using that three core Pokemon team. I know a lot of people will typically use just one Pokemon as their core, but I'm using the combo. I'm liking the combo. I'm learning how to use the combo, and more importantly, I'm learning when not to use it. So there have been some certain situations right now where like a dark Pokemon comes out, and I just don't really know what to do because I don't want to Shadow Ball into the dark Pokemon. I can't Psychic, which kind of sucks. But I'm working my way around it. I'm trying to figure out what to do, and I think I'm doing all right. I'm going to keep on practicing this week. I'm going to keep on practicing this week. I'm going to try my best. There's been a new VGC tournament announced for April, the Great Ball Guy tournament. So that's fun. That's another thing for me to focus on. But I don't think I'll be doing VGC boot camp by then. I think that is still scheduled to end in, I think it's 2 weeks now, 1 week after the Ontario Regionals. We're gonna have to see what happens if Ontario Regionals does get canceled. There hasn't been any word of it yet. But until then, those have been my thoughts going into next week. I did finish the Ball Guy tournament from last week, and I did reach, I want to say 3,207th. Let's check that right now. Yeah, 3,138. So, hey, you know what? That was not bad. A lot of the people who came first or who hit first at any given point, it was interesting to watch how they did it. Not a lot of people played all the games. You could play 45 games a day on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So for a total of like 180, quick math, 180 games for over the weekend. There were a lot of people who only played like 30 because it's based on a rating system. If you have a really good win streak and you get your rating all the way up and you don't lose almost at all, then your rating is going to be super high. Versus if you play all 180 games and 90 games are wins and 90 games are losses, you're going to stay close to around that initial 1500 rating, and you won't go anywhere and you won't place anywhere. So that's what I've learned, is just really go for those wins. Go for them at the best possible times for you. So wake up early in the morning if that's where you play the best. Wake up or go and take a nap in the afternoon or whatever and play in the evening. I don't know, whatever you do your ritual. And just find a way to play your best, because that's what I'm trying to do now. All right, and with that, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week for another episode of VGC Bootcamp. Make sure you also check out Pokesports Plus, which you can find on all podcast providers. We speak with guests and industry experts about all things Pokemon, so go and check that out. See you next week.